on and watch this, please let them know on Courage, Critical Resistance, and No Justice Under Capitalism Facebook pages, this will be translated. I'd also like to ask at this point, does anybody need Spanish translation today? If you need Spanish translation, please raise your hand. All right, we will be going without Spanish translation. If that changes and somebody arrives that needs translations, please let us know. We want to let you know there are various photographers and videographers filming and documenting this demonstration. We hope that's okay with you. It will produce important content as we continue to push out to send our message. Courage has been kind enough to set up a table with PPE and hydration. It's hot today, and we're grateful for this last week it's going to be raining. So please do make sure to stay hydrated. We also have a number of posters going on your cars saying no state execution by COVID-19. And Newsom let them go. Please go to the table to get those and tape them to your car and grab some window chalk marker to write our messages to Governor Newsom and free them all. We gather here today because at this point nearly half of the entire prison population has contracted COVID. We're up to 192 deaths within the California state prison system. The average age of those who have died is 63 years old. Yet the age range of 50 plus only represents 1 out of every 4 incarcerated people. Nearly 80% of those people who died had a disability. Over 70% were people of color. And at least 20% of those who have contracted COVID that are still alive will have long-lasting consequences. But we imagine that it's far more, and only time will tell. And only transparency by the medical care that they're receiving behind enemy lines will also tell. We gather here today to demand that Governor Newsom grant mass releases. We demand that Governor Newsom grant mass releases to save lives. It is the only way to prevent future deaths. And we demand that he begins with the elderly incarcerated community. We demand that he begins with the immunocompromised and the trans community. We demand that he begins with those most at risk. We have people who have been inside from the age of 18 years old. They've survived strokes. They've survived COVID. They have cancer. They have terminal cancer. These are our grandfathers, our grandmothers. These are our siblings. And they need to be home with their families. Today's action very much is a direct message to Governor Newsom that we hold him accountable for every statement that he said in the wake of George Floyd's murder about racial inequity. We asked him not to be performative. We asked him to take action. Because we know who's in those prisons. We know who's in those prisons. It's poor black and brown people. Governor Newsom has recognized the inherent racism of the criminal justice system. And we ask him to put his money where his mouth is and to not just produce words, but to take action and to let people go. We thank you so much for joining us as this is an ongoing struggle. At the start of the pandemic, nearly 20,000 people were let out of prison. But these were people categorically due for release. They had 12 weeks to go. They were being let out anyways. Governor Newsom didn't grant any earth-shattering releases. He didn't allow many commutations, nothing substantially quantifiable to save lives. It was performative. It was due to public outcry. But he's been quiet since then. He's been quiet since the start of the pandemic. But you know what's not quiet? This pandemic. You know what's not quiet? The deaths that continue to occur in prison. So we demand that Newsom make some damn noise. Newsom structures. If people are dying due to the ongoing humanitarian crisis, that is mass incarceration, then this is nothing short of a state execution. And we hold you accountable, Newsom. We don't buy your 2019 moratorium on the death penalty because it is ongoing. We thank you for those who have joined today. We thank you, most importantly, for those who have come to speak today, whether formerly incarcerated or system impacted. We respect your bravery, we respect your advocacy and your activism, and we thank you for sharing your stories because we know they're not always easy. We're going to kick this off with a little chant, and then we're going to get to our first speaker. Newsom, you've got blood on your hands. Mass releases is our demand. Newsom, you've got blood on your hands. Mass releases is our demand.
Newsom, you've got blood on your hands.
Mass releases is our demand.
Newsom, you've got blood on your hands.
Newsom, you've got blood on your hands.
All right, thanks, y'all. We're going to begin with the statement recorded by Satawan Antama. He is one of the biggest peacemakers in the California State Prison System. He is one of the lead organizers for the hunger strikes that took place in Pelican Bay State Prison and throughout in 2011 to 2013 that saw first 6,000, then 12,000, then 30,000 incarcerated people hunger strike and do away with indefinite solitary confinement. Satawa, despite being deserving of an award for the peaceful organizing that he did to change the prison system, including the agreement to end hostilities, which helped end violence in prison, is still behind the wall. He survived a stroke. He survived COVID. He's 62 years old. He's been down for 40. And he needs to be let go. King, can you please play a statement for us?
Jesus Christ, been in this hospital, but after 40 years, you know, went to the expect for him to be released. You know, me personally, I'm innocent of the crime and you could check on that. But more importantly, you got a lot of elders that's held in prison way far longer than any white that's in prison. Why is that? The governor should be able to express why that's happening to us. So, I feel bad for doing the time, but I understand. And they got to understand I was a youth. I was number 22 years old. Now 62. How much more you to a person? Well, I was one of the people that transformed the prison system. I turned it from violent to non-violent, of racial lines. So, how can you keep me in here and not give me a second try at this shot of life? On the outside, I pose no threat to nobody. It's pretty much all I gotta say.
So when Satawa says that the system punishes black people more than white people, and what does the governor have to say about this? We know this to be true.
Yeah, 3 minutes. I got it.
Excuse me.
Black men are 6 times more likely than white men to be sentenced. And their sentences are at least 20% longer than white men. On June 5th, Newsom stated, "It has been said over and over again and cannot be said enough. We have a criminal justice system. I don't think this, I know this. As governor, I live this every day. A criminal justice system that treats people that are rich and guilty a hell of a lot better than it treats people that are poor and innocent. You and I know that, so why aren't we doing something about it? Yes, Governor Newsom, why are we doing something about it? And I want the media that's here today, I want you to walk away listening to Satawa's voice, how frail his voice is. Having survived COVID, having survived a stroke, why is he still inside? That's what we want to know. Next up, we have Gerald of No Justice Under Capitalism, the Labor Action Committee to Free Mumia, and the Oscar Grant Committee will be reading a statement that Mumia Abu Jamal wrote specifically for us today.
Okay, Mumia Abu Jamal.
Louder, Gerald.
Louder. Mumia Abu Jamal is a political prisoner, an innocent man framed by an unholy alliance of the racist Fraternal Order of Police and the Philadelphia judicial system. Mumia is returning to court soon to fight his appeals to the unjust and corrupt legal process that led to his incarceration for the last 40 years. Mumia is a former member of the Black Panther Party and is not alone in that regard. In this state, we got Chip Fitzgerald, who has been incarcerated, believe it or not, longer than Mumia. We also have, it's noteworthy to mention, Sundiata Akoli, who is still in prison. This is the brother that was arrested with a shot Assad Shakur, right in New Jersey on the freeway. We cannot forget our political prisoners. It is very important that we understand that people who fought in our interests should not be abandoned. If you want more information, please contact the Labor Action Committee. Here is Mumia's statement. Yeah. Mumia's statement. As COVID-19 sweeps through the open bars of prison like a malevolent storm, the resultant lockdowns, lack of movement, and contact visits makes it resemble more and more the repressive, isolating reality of death rows. Open up the joints, free the captives from COVID and the state. Thank you for listening.
All right, next up, we have a statement from Lisa Strawn. She is a trans woman who could not be here today, but has been generous enough to record a statement for us. She was just released from San Quentin just last year in July, after having had COVID in June. So she has survived COVID, she has survived 25 years in the prison system. She has been hitting demonstrations and is one of the biggest advocates I know, really straight from getting out of those doors. So we appreciate her sending a statement today. Minister King, can you please play the statement?
I'm really sorry that I couldn't be there.
Just decline that phone call.
Sorry that I couldn't be there, but I'm extremely busy. But I really wanted to do something. I want everyone to really understand the importance of the rallies and the protests that are taking place right now about so many issues, and mainly about COVID-19 inside of prisons. I'm not sure if everybody really knows, but I was in San Quentin. I paroled from San Quentin in July. I got COVID in June. And it's something that I would never want anyone to go through. And there's so many people going through hell inside of the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. And it's not even that. To me, there's nothing rehabilitative about prison. There just isn't. And right now, I just can't even imagine how it is for them inside. And it really bothers me. I'm dedicated to advocating, not for just the transgender community, LGBTQ people, but just everybody. And this is such an important issue to me, COVID-19. How is it possible that people are still getting infected in prison? It baffles me. Here we are 6 months later of me being released, and people are still dying. The numbers are going up. We're almost at 200 people, and that's just within, like I said, 6 months. For me, my day-to-day life, I'm extremely cautious. I'm very cautious because after getting COVID, I'm just more aware of everybody and everything around me, and I work inside of places where a lot of people don't wear masks all the time, so I'm just very careful. But I want everybody to understand this is a we fight. This isn't just I, me, them, or they. This is a we fight, and this is going to be continual until we can start getting releases. And there are so many people inside of prisons that can be released. Myself, I did quite well, and I've done extremely well since I've been out. And it's because I've chosen a life of advocacy. And so for me, I've just really put in the work. But there's so many other people inside of prisons. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people that can be released safely. No, we probably can't release everybody. And the little saying, do the crime, do the time. Okay, so we've done that. Okay, we're so over that. We are so over that statement.
So over
yes,
that.
I did the crime, I did the time. But here I am outside of prison, doing really, really good. I have a job that I really, really like. I'm on the Reentry Council of San Francisco. So I have an opportunity to help others when they're released from prison. But in the meantime, between time, we have to think about those who, the LWOPs, life without the possibility to parole. What are we going to do? What are we going to do about the people on death row? We're just going to keep killing them because we just think it's okay? And everyone else, the lifers, everyone is just sitting inside a prison. They're doing nothing. There are no programs. So I couldn't even imagine how it would even be. And for me, I'm going to continue the work I do every day, and I'm going to be out there on the front lines or whatever it is I need to do to bring awareness to this situation. I'm kind of glad that I am now on a committee to where I can possibly make some change. And that's what I'm looking forward to doing. But in the meantime, we all really, really please, we have to stick together. And there's always so much more everyone can do. Showing up at a rally, you can go stand in a corner, you can make a sign. Your sign can be about whatever you're passionate about, and that could be your own protest. It doesn't matter what you do, it's just that you do something. You can contact the assembly, you can contact the senators, but there's always something that we can do. We can always do so much more.
Woo! All right, thank you so much. We appreciate Lisa Strong, hopefully you want to learn. Lisa Strong, we appreciate you. Lisa highlights the fact this is an ongoing humanitarian crisis. This is not about COVID. Lisa mentions we need to drop LWOP. Let's say drop LWOP.
Drop LWOP.
Drop LWOP.
Drop LWOP.
Drop LWOP.
Drop LWOP.
All right, so let's keep everyone in our mind at this time. Just a little minute here.
No justice.
No peace!
No justice.
No peace!
No justice.
No peace! All right, I want to read about the
a statement from Jay Burton, who's doing time in Lancaster. Lisa so eloquently highlighted, not everybody's wearing masks, and that's damn true. A lot of prison employees are not wearing masks. They have been found guilty of deliberate indifference. They are the vectors of transmission, but it is preventable if they follow the guidelines, as they are not. If they follow public health guidelines to keep people safe, but they are not. And Jay knows that all too well. His cellmate, Jordan Anderson, tested positive on November 30th, 2020. They intentionally kept his cellmate and Jay together despite Jay testing negative. It's no surprise that on December 14th he retested and he tested positive. This is deliberate indifference. This is the intentional mixing of people to spread COVID in prison. Jay's been down 32 years since he was 16 for a murder he did not commit. The LA Sheriff's Department, working with the California Attorney General, has refused to give him a single fingerprint found on the weapon that he knows would exonerate him. He survived COVID, but he's not surviving mass incarceration because it is so inhumane. So we say, free Jay Burton!
Free Jay Burton!
Free Jay Burton!
Free Jay Burton!
All right, his advocate Monique is here today. Monique, where are you? Monique standing here over by the pole. If you want to get involved in Jay's campaign, if you want to learn more about a story, please go and approach Monique today. All right? Thanks for being here, Monique. Next up, we have Minister King, ex-organizer. He's an organizer with the Justice Center Capitalism, and he's a director with California Prison Focus and Cage Universal. He was released last year after surviving 24 years, 6 years in the feds, and 18 in state prison. He's a strong advocate. He's hit the ground running ever since he's been out. And let's do a little chant while he continues to walk up. We're gonna say no justice, no peace. We want mass release. 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 No justice, no peace. We want mass release.
I'm gonna be a little long-winded, y'all, but I'm gonna cut it off.
Just for our speakers, just coming back to that, thanks for the reminder, King. Every speaker has 3 minutes, and Judy Greenspan's keeping time. We got a full schedule today.
All right, so I want to bring attention because a lot of people here is talking about our elders. I want to make this a little, I want to use proximity to make this a little personal. So I'm writing a piece, it's called Fight to Build with Lewis Powell. And I say, revolutionary greetings, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends. My name is Minister King X, also known as Podface. I'm a returning citizen who just served 6 years in a federal prison and 18 years in a state prison for allegedly robbing the government's banks. In 2011, 2013, I was one of 30,000 prisoners who participated in the California Prisoners' Hunger Strike. Our aim was to end long-term solitary confinement and to eradicate the torturous conditions within the security housing units in Pelican Bay, Tehachapi, Corcoran, and other asset units within the prison industrial slave complex. In 2015, the federal court settled some of our quarrels with those state and government agents at the time, acting under the color of law at the time in the case of Oscar versus Governor. During our shoe kickouts back into the general population, I had the most honorable opportunity to walk the Pelican Bay yard with an elder named Lewis Powell. Lewis Powell was the moxie, or should I say, the encouragement to my pull, stress, strive. Every time we had yard, I would wait for him to arrive. And if his building was released before my building, he too will be waiting for my arrival. Most of the time walking outside of most of the time walking on side of my right will be my brother Keelan Jenkins, also known as Kilo G, with a pen and paper in hand, after which me and Kilo G would have had our great debate before sunrise. I would have had my long list of long-winded 21 questions prepared for Lewis Powell fact-checking. There were colorful days when I would find Lewis Powell surrounded by a multicultural, multi-generational populace. Our united front for peace would seem to be as a cold war against the prison administration. We would not be conquered and divided, broken by the dirty politics or corporate malfeasance imposed by the corrupt Green Wall, also known as the Security Threat Group of Correctional Officers. Lewis Powell would tell the band of brothers, we are all walking encyclopedias. Each and every one of us has a story. We all have a story of love, a story of hate, a story of cannon fodder, of being left for dead, being misunderstood. As a humble student, I would be mindful not to interrupt. However, my ambition will lead me to ask Mr. Powell, what is the thesis and the antithesis of humanity versus evil? Guess what it is today? COVID-19 is more than inhumane. It violates the 8th Amendment. The courts already ruled about indefinite sentencing. The courts already know that COVID-19 was deliberate indifference to their medical needs. We say indefinite sentences and genocide because you're dealing with elder abuse. People like Lewis Powell, Satawa, others alike. These are elders who've been down for 30 and 40 years. This is what they put under their rug. This is the dirt that they got under the rug, and they say these are the worst of the worst. But the taxpayers are spending their money to keep these men who's vulnerable, who have compromised health conditions, in prison. We paying our money, our tax money, to uphold genocide, to uphold torture. Liberate Lewis Powell, liberate all our elders right now. All power to the people.
California Prison Focus has been around for 30 years. If you do not subscribe to their newsletter, of which 2,500 to 3,000 go in quarterly into our state prisons, please go to prisons.org, donate, and subscribe now to their newsletter. All right. As Minister King said, this is nothing short of elder abuse. If we have folks inside 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s in some cases, this is elder abuse. There's no other way to call it. We say, stop the elder abuse. Stop the elder abuse. Stop the elder abuse. Stop the elder abuse. All right, next up, we have a recording from Amina Elster of CCWP, the California Coalition for Women Prisoners. Courtney Hanson, woo, round of applause. We got Courtney Hanson here today. We got Diana Block. We have quite a few members I've seen of CCWP. Thanks for showing up, y'all. Courtney Hanson, can you please play the recording?
I thank everyone who organized hard to arrange this event, and those of you here in support of our people locked in cages. Today I want to share some wisdom from my peers and fellow organizers currently incarcerated within the Central California Women's Facility, and it starts like this. The only way to protect those of us behind the walls of the Central California Women's Facility from COVID is to free us. You know, a correctional officer told me, inmates don't die because of COVID. My eyes must have reflected my shock, which must have provoked him to clarify because he quickly added, not in this prison. I said, well, 3 people from here are on ventilators. He replied, no, they're not. I said, yes, they are, and 1 person had to be life flighted out of here. He replied, no, that's not true. I said, yes, it is. He told me how the numbers are inflated by the media, that the deaths are due to something else, some other condition that COVID makes worse. He insists that COVID does not kill people. That's when he said inmates don't die because of COVID. At that moment, a nurse who had to have been eavesdropping on our conversation got his attention and quietly informed him that it was in fact true. And his response was only a look of surprise. You know, correctional officers' attitude that our only worth is the product we slave to produce is not novel and has always been dangerous to prisoners. But his attitude about COVID, which is common and prevalent among staff here, is deadly. The thousands of deaths that happen behind the walls of CDCR annually, including the numerous suicides that took place inside the California Institution for Women, have tragically and unnecessarily proven this fact. While I was on the way back to my cell after my conversation with that CEO, I was thinking, you know, coming from this person that is responsible for my safety, he looks and acts capable of stopping the very unlikely fatal attack from a peer, but I know he is not going to protect me from COVID. Hell, I doubt he thinks it is necessary to follow CDC, the World Health Organization, or even CDCR guidelines for the prevention of contracting and spreading this virus. Based on my conversation with him, I don't believe he wears a mask outside the view of supervisors or cameras within this prison. I also do not believe he wears a mask outside the prison, nor do I believe he keeps his family in a pod. But one thing I know for certain is that he definitely doesn't practice social distancing in here. These violations I share with you today are taking place in plain view of the cameras with no real concern for repercussions. You know why? Because there aren't any for him, nor for others like him.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much to CCWP and Amina for providing that. We know that prison employees are not taking the pandemic seriously. We know that they're transmitting it. We know that a report from the Office of the Inspector General in October found that the majority of prisons are not following guidelines. We hold them accountable and we demand that every single prison employee is vaccinated because they are the ones bringing it inside. And we demand that all incarcerated people are prioritized for the vaccine and it is their choice and that all prison employees are vaccinated. Next up, thank you so much. All right, we have one statement. If you have signed up to participate in the banner drop, it is now time to collect and roll out. If you have signed up for the banner drop, it's time to go. Thank you so much. And if anybody wants to participate that hasn't, find someone in a yellow vest. All right, next up, we've got Keith Shanklin, former president of ILWU Local 34. These guys have been shutting shit down for a long time. All right, big up to ILWU. They shut down the ports during apartheid. They shut down, in South Africa, they shut down the ports in the wake of George Floyd murder on Juneteenth when we saw tens of thousands of people gather here. These guys have been organizing since 1934 and fighting the good fight, and we thank you for allowing us space within the Port of Oakland today, and we thank you for attending.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody. I love this crowd. I love it. As she introduced myself, I am former president of ILW Local 34, but I'm still a shit starter, okay? Let's not get that wrong. I stand with you guys in solidarity against the state and against the San Quentin treatment of the prisoners without giving them their right to PPE, giving their right to COVID injections. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. COVID injections, and also the right to be seen and screened to make sure that we keep their COVID out of the prison system. Just because they're in prison don't mean they have to have a death sentence of COVID, okay? Also, I'm standing here too with the Stadium Alliance against the closure of Howard Terminal. I'm standing here also in the shoes of the ILWU, okay, as a citizen, not as an official, but as a citizen. Please, when you go home tonight, take a look at yourself and see how it would be if you were put in prison, if you was denied the right to have PPE, if you was denied the right to have the medical attention and see how that would feel. That would not feel good. We stand here and we want to petition the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, to go into the prison himself and see the conditions. Okay? We know that's not going to happen. You know why? Because he's just as scared as some of the other people that sit in those Senate seats. Okay? When it was attacked on December 6th, they found out what it felt like to be us. They found out what it felt like to be normal. They found out what it felt like to be humanized, because they had people coming after him. Well, guess what? We have people coming after us. So we got to fight back. Stand up, stand tall, fight back. We press all, take nothing. Do not give in. Do not give up the fight. Keep your eye on the prize. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again to Keith Tranklin and ILWU for your years of organizing, guidance, and for allowing us use today within here. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Governor Newsom, let them go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Governor Newsom, let them go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Governor Newsom, let them go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Governor Newsom, let them go. All right, we got a call from the inside. Guys, make some noise so from the inside they hear us on the outside. Can you hear us? Can you hear us in there? Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
All right, make some noise, y'all. All right, we got a lot of love out here today.
Yeah, that's right.
What you got for us? What's going on the inside?
And all power to the people. You know, it's disturbing that the CDCR is continuously refusing to wear masks and stuff inside of various prisons and are transferring people with the COVID-19 where people who are infected, putting others' lives at risk. And people really need to band together continuously in this fight to address these issues on social media and whatever networks they can do.
All right, we hear you, we hear you. We're organizing and we're going to keep on fighting. Tell us how are people feeling? All right. Thank you. Sorry guys, I know we're rushing through a little bit, but we got a busy day. We got a plan of action as well. All right. Next up, we've got Allegra. Casimir Taylor, can Allegra make her way over here? Allegra is a lifelong activist, daughter of Hugo Pinell, revolutionary leader, and drove down for Sacramento. So let's give a big round of applause for those of you that came out from Sacktown today. We appreciate the support.
Hello, everybody. Allegra Taylor, Village Advocates of Sacramento. All of us are none in Sacramento Act. I'm also the daughter of Hugo Pinell, as she stated. So I'm here and I'm stating all of my hats because we came in solidarity with all of the organizations that I represent to stand with the people, the will of the people. And the will of the people is for Governor Newsom to let our people go. I specifically want him to release Rochelle McGee. I specifically want him to release Hazim Burke. I've got one more name here. Yeah, I got too many people.
You failed the apple. Release our people. When you have people that's been locked down for as long as they have, and you have the authority to release them, and you don't operate in that authority, it appears as though you are part of the original plan that started off with number 45. What is this, the purge? Is this the purge y'all been talking about? Is this the way that you delete our people so that you can stay in office? It appears as though that Governor Newsom thinks that we don't have power to get him out of office. So it's time that we show him the power that we have in the solidarity that we have. Because if you look around you today, this is about all people. So I stand before you today, and I always speak on behalf of Black people, and I speak on behalf of all oppressed people. Because today, there is a minority of people here, all races, all sexes. We're here. We're here speaking to the governor of the state of California, and we're asking you to do your damn job. And if you cannot do your job, then get out of the office, get out of the seat. This is inhumane. This is inhumane. This is inhumane. Do your job or leave.
That's right, Governor Newsom. We're asking you to put human lives before your political career. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. People over politics.
People over politics.
People over politics.
People over profits. People over profits.
Now that last name, thank you so much for speaking in Lagos. That last name, Yafu Iyapo, has been down over 40 years, survived 31 years in solitary. I do believe McKinney, his wife, has sent her regards and her appreciation and stands with us in solidarity.
She's not here. She's not here. She's not here.
All right, we thought McKinney was going to be here, but he's not, so moving on. All right, next up, we have Nube Brown. Nube is editor of SF Bayview, one half of a very power couple. Hello, Malik Washington, who I know is watching live right now.
Yes.
Nube is editor of SF Bayview and has been leading a Liberate the Cage Elders campaign in California Prison Focus. And you better know, she got the governor's number memorized by now, so if any of y'all need it right now, just hit up Nube. Okay, am I going to hold that thing? Do you want to hold it? It's
Okay. Yeah, she's right.
oh, do I have to? Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm not good at this. Listen, Governor Newsom is definitely practicing derelict of duty. He is next in the line of a long legacy of genocidal tactics concerning our loved ones inside. All of our loved ones, whether you know them or not, somebody knows and loves them. So, as we are here together in solidarity, it doesn't stop here. Because the truth is, Governor Newsom, he doesn't really hear us. He doesn't have to, really, because he's protected. So we have to protect ourselves and stay loud. This is a crime against humanity that started with slavery and genocide.
That's right.
When we leave here today, call him. Make us, we need to make sure for all of us to be heard. 916-445-2841. Do you have that in your phone? How many of you have called the governor?
What's the number?
916-445-2841.
Yeah.
This person right here has been caged for 54 years. That is a civil death.
That's
he
right.
has been denied parole, How many times?
14.
14 times. That is not an anomaly.
Right.
You have to understand, Governor Newsom knows exactly what is happening inside these prisons because he has inherited this crime against humanity. And it is our job to let him know that we know it. He is not a progressive, he is a liar.
That's right.
He is a murderer. Every time, every second that goes by that he does not use his power to let people go, that is blood on his hands. 916-445-2841. And I just need to make a small correction. I am the managing editor of the newspaper. That's all right. Malik is the editor.
That's right. He's the editor-in-chief.
Okay, and he is stuck in a halfway house, and Governor Newsom knows it. Okay, thank you everybody for being here and calling out this crime against humanity that continues to take place. Our elders are being subjected to, our people are being subjected to. Stay together, call the governor, 916-445-2841. Every day, all day.
Woo! What's the call?
Free them all!
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 Thank you so much, Nubay's partner, editor of SFAB, Malik Washington, will be having a press conference for the illegal suppression of free speech that has occurred in his halfway house owned by the GEO Group, which is still profiting off of private enterprises within California despite us closing down for-profit prisons.
Shut down GEO Group.
All right, so tune in, find out more details on No Justice Under Capitalism. We're going to be sharing the press conference at 11 a.m.
On Tuesday.
All right, y'all. One thing Nube mentioned, going up for board 14 times. We gotta stick together and we gotta educate the public on what's really going down. How can someone be up for board 14 times? Who's on the parole board? As we start to pay more and more attention to who our judges are, which as we know are all former prosecutors, we need more public defenders to become judges, we need civil attorneys to become judges. So too, we do need more diversity on parole boards. They're all former law enforcement. They have built their career on benefiting from the prison industrial complex, and these are people who decide who gets set free. Do they have an incentive in letting people go? Hell no, they don't. That's why they're keeping them locked up. So in 2021, let's focus more on who are controlling these decisions. CDCR is violent. We will not be silent. CDCR is violent. We will not be silent. CDCR is violent. We will not be silent. All right, next up we got Joey Villarreal from Poor Magazine and a very powerful political educator. Let's give it up for Joey and his
Yeah, I want to thank you all for coming today because this is a very personal struggle for me. You know, I'm formerly incarcerated as well, as some of you know. I was a torture survivor, held in the state's concentration camp of Pelican Bay. I was also a participant in the historic hunger strikes. And you know, this is very important. What we call here today, first of all, I'm here representing the Republic of Aztlán and also Poor Magazine. And absolutely, and we feel that what is occurring in today's prisons is genocide. It's every prisoner in prison is on death row. They have a death sentence, whether they're there for stealing a loaf of bread or doing anything else. They have a death sentence. You know, we call on Governor Newsom today to free imprisoned Aztlán, to free imprisoned New Africa, and to free the imprisoned First Nations and all political prisoners. You know, and what happened, absolutely, yes. And the state underestimates the power of the people and our will to resist. They think just because they're in charge of the media arms, the propaganda arms, that they're in charge of the military and the police, they think that we have no power. But we're going to show them today how much power we have. Yes. And, you know, we can look back in history. We learn from history in order to change the future. We can look at history and look at a country like the Vietnamese people who fought the most technologically advanced country in the world, and they beat them. Yes. And these people beat them by they were wearing sandals with a bag of rice in one hand and an AK in the other. And they're fighting these, you know, the most technologically advanced country in the world. So this is my point, that we don't have to control the media arm. We don't have to control the military, the pig. We don't need none of that. But our will to resist is going to outweigh the state. And they will do mass releases. Guaranteed they will. We're going to make them do it.
We're going to make them do it.
Absolutely. We're going to make them do it. And just like the Vietnamese people, you know, they were fighting for their lives. Well, the prison movement, we are here fighting for the lives of our loved ones, of our sons and daughters, husbands and wives. And we are fighting for them because nobody else will. So I just want to say today, I want to say on behalf of the prisoners, I want to say, free them all. Yes. Governor Newsom, begin mass releases now, and we're going to make sure you do that. Power to the people. Power to the
Thanks so much, Joey and gang. All right, next up, we have a poem by Donald C. Note Hooker, who is an artist and activist inside. It's going to be recited by Courtney Hansen from CCWP, and he was inspired to write after learning about the forced sterilization of women in women's prisons in California, which is incredibly recent.
Well, not that recent. Since the 90s.
How's everyone doing?
Hey!
Thank you all for being out here today and flexing our people power. It is absolutely necessary to save lives. I'm part of the California Coalition for Women Prisoners, and as Courtney laid out, would like to recite this poem from inside. It's called Today We Are Sisters. Today we are sisters. Tomorrow we won't. Unless for reparations, together we fight. I am pro-choice. I am pro-life. Just because she's in prison, she still has rights. Today We Are Sisters is a poem by Donald C. Note Hooker. C. Note is called the world's most prolific prisoner artist. He wrote the poem in conjunction with a drawing of the same title. The work draws attention to the 150, at least, forced sterilization of people in California women's prisons between 2006 and 2010. These people have still in no organized fashion been notified that this was done to their bodies, nor have they been given reparations. Women prisoners are being forcibly sterilized throughout the country, and the public needs to be made aware of this. Free them all. Thank you.
Free them all! Free them all!
All right, can I have Leah from Impact come up here? This is another amazing activist hailing from Sacramento. Let's give a big round of applause again. Thanks so much for coming. You won't find many demonstrations that this woman's not out here on the ground for.
All right. Thank you guys all for being here. We are here once again to let Governor Newsom know that we are not going away. We've been at his home, we've been at his place of business, and we're out here in these streets. We're standing in solidarity with all of our brothers and sisters that are locked up and given COVID against their will. We're here to remind you all that unlike white supremacists, they can't storm the Capitol. They can't go out to the Capitol and beg for restaurants to be open. So just as much as he gives people rights that are out here in the streets, we want him to give the rights to our people. We are here today, we are the people. I also want to give recognition to the families that are out here, the wives, the husbands, the daughters, the sons, the brothers, the sisters. You guys matter. Your voice matters, and we're standing in solidarity with you to say, let them go. Can everybody say, let them go?
Let them go.
Let them go.
Let them go.
When we say Black Lives Matter, when we say Brown Lives Matter, we mean all brown lives and all Black lives, not just those that are free, but those that are incarcerated as well. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Ryan Brett, who is not only here today to contribute some uplifting music through the Brass Liberation Orchestra. Give him some noise! Woo! Give him that sound a lot of noise! What's going on? Speak up! So, Ryan's been our go-to when talking about music here. And when we were on the phone recently, he said that this is very close to his heart because he worked inside the prison system himself. And he knows what's going on, so he's going to speak it out today.
All right. Hello. My name's Ryan. In the last 20 years in California, referrals for mental health treatment in California's prison have increased by 150%. Over half of state prisoners nationwide report mental health concerns, and data shows that those incarcerated are 5 times more likely to develop severe mental illness than those who are not. I know this because I saw it firsthand, spending years as a therapist in CDCR. I witnessed the anxiety, the panic, the rage, and the psychotic breaks that occur as a result of the inhumane isolation, overcrowdedness, highly restrictive, insecure, and hostile environments. As a result of multiple lawsuits, California has admittedly made marginal improvements in access to mental health care, until recently. Enter COVID-19, a virus that in itself has caused a spike in mental health crises and substance use worldwide. In an effort to control the spread, California prisons have severely halted transfers to mental health hospitals and treatment, limiting access to care at a time when it's needed most. The good news is that there's a solution that benefits everybody. Let them go home. It's no secret that reduction of crowds reduces the spread of the virus, but what about the mental health benefits of getting to be with your family?
Yeah.
What about the economic benefits of getting treatment in the community versus the prison, which, by the way, is $50,000 cheaper annually per person to get mental health treatment in the community versus prison treatment?
Yes.
And above all else, what about the mental health benefits of not being treated as a number in a fundamentally racist and corrupt institution? I witnessed more strength, resilience, camaraderie, and wisdom from the patients I worked with on the inside than anyone I've met out here. What gifts are we losing in our community? What are we missing out on by keeping these people behind bars? So I implore you, Mr. Governor, make the choice that benefits our health. Make the choice that benefits your checkbook that you love so much. And for once, make the choice that benefits those most in need. Thank you, Oakland.
Thank you so much. It's amazing to have first-hand information from someone who works inside and fundamentally has realized what a gross system it is and tries to make a change. Thank you. Solitary confinement has gone up 500% since the start of the pandemic. as a way for them to quarantine people. Talk about mental health. That is incredibly inhumane. The cure is not solitary confinement. The cure is mass releases now. Newsom, what you wine and dine? People are dying on your time. Newsom, what you wine and dine? People are dying on your time. Newsom, what you wine and dine? People are dying on your time. Newsom, what you wine and dine? People are dying on your time. We ain't got time for you to go to French Laundry with lobbyists. Oh, hell no! $1,000 a person. Bought and sold, I'm sure. But we only have time for mass releases. All right. I'm now going to close out with Judy Greenspan speaking on behalf of WWP. And then we're going to have some information about the caravan.
There's going to be a caravan after this.
Sisters and brothers and siblings, I am speaking to you in solidarity and in support from the Prisoners' Solidarity Committee of Workers' World Party. We are here to demand mass releases now. Stop funding the prison industrial complex. But this demand will not be easy, not just because of Newsom, because we now have a president who really started the prison industrial complex, who is responsible for the mass incarceration, who is somebody who actually built the prisons. Despite the executive orders that President Biden has given, he has not ordered the closure of ICE detention centers. He has not forced the end of GEO Group. He said nothing about stopping the funding of prisons. So where is the executive orders to do this and to open the border and make it unnecessary for there to be any ICE detention centers? Where is the order granting immediate citizenship to undocumented siblings? COVID has not created the inhumanity, has not created what is going on, but the inhumanity of capitalism during COVID has brought it to light. It has not created the racism and the genocide and the xenophobia, trans and gender phobia that has already been here. We have an opportunity to bring our movement into the larger working class movement for justice and dignity. Right now, all eyes are on Alabama. For the month of January, prisoners in Alabama had a work stoppage, proving therefore they are incarcerated workers. They are part of our working class. They participated in incredible action. Now in the same state in Alabama, Amazon workers are unionizing or trying to form a union, and if they succeed, this will have incredible ramifications for the rest of the country. I want to challenge us here. 2021 has been named the year of the U.S. political prisoner. And like Gerald said and other people have said, and Allegra said, we must free them all. This is the time to bring them home. This is also the time to unite and fight the capitalist system that values human life over profits, that renounces a movement that renounces occupation and incarceration, gentrification and oppression. And that system is on the horizon for us. We just have to reach out and get it. That system is socialism. We need to tear down the walls, we need to abolish capitalism, and we need to build once and for all a workers' world.
All right, y'all, thank you so much. We did release a social media toolkit today, which also has instructions for those folks who couldn't attend. We encourage you to share that toolkit. We encourage you to share it and participate in it to continue to call on Newsom for mass releases. All right, we are going to start to prepare for the car caravan. We have passed out maps to everybody with details. We do have a contingency plan if this does not work out. So please do not get in front of the vehicles that say lead cars. Do not get in front of the vehicles that say lead cars. If you happen to, please do remove and move out and let them in front. If anybody needs a map, please note that Muhammad here is handing out maps. If anybody has any particular questions, feel free to go ahead and approach Muhammad. If any worries, we have fundraise, and we got you. We're gonna make a slow move.